It's time for the Coach Groves Show, where we sit down with the head coach of the Darlington Tigers football team and talk about all things Darlington School football. Now we go live to Matt Davis and Ian Griffin, who are standing by with...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coach Groves Show, where we talk all things Darlington football with the head Tiger himself, Wayne Groves. Good to be back after a week off, guys.
I know. Do we still know how to do this thing? I hope we do. We better be ready because it is live. It is local on our YouTube channel, also our Facebook Live, and we're going to be talking some Darlington football. But first things first, let's welcome the man of the half hour, I guess I should say. We've got Coach Groves with us, and welcome back, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be back. You know, week off and at a much-needed time, and so, yeah, we're glad to be back playing some football this week.
Oh, absolutely. So let's go ahead and rewind a little bit. Of course, it's been kind of weird having 2 Fridays without Darlington football because you guys played your last game on a Thursday, then had that Friday off, and then a bye week. But let's rewind and talk about the last game a little bit. Of course, it was at homecoming. You guys picked up a 49-7 victory over Armuchee, got off to a fast start. You guys, I think, forced 4 turnovers in the game. So, Coach, tell us a little bit about what you liked about the effort from that game on that Thursday night.
Well, we definitely had a motivated team, you know, and it's one of the things me and the coaching staff preached all week. We want to come out and start fast and really take it to Armuchee and try to take them out of the game as quickly as possible. And our kids definitely did that. You know, we played hard, we played fast. I thought we really came together as a team and kind of clicked on all cylinders in that game. And so I was really proud of our kids' effort.
You know, after the Pepperell game, we were here talking. You mentioned how getting back to work quickly and having the short week was actually good for the team, good for you. Talk about that week of practice and preparation leading up to the Armuchee game.
Well, we took it and basically, you know, we did a regular Monday and Tuesday practice. We combined a Wednesday and Thursday practice there, and then went out and played on Friday. And I thought we had a great plan. I thought we executed it really well, and we practiced really well that week. And so, you know, the results came on Thursday night with that win.
Coach, one of the things I want to talk about in this segment is the Honeymoon Bakery Icing on the Cake Player of the Game. And we had a new face that won that this past week, and it was Luke Parker, who stepped in, a little bit of an injury for Sammy Konchesky. He didn't play that night. Parker came in through 5 touchdown passes. I believe Talon Shire had 8 catches for 145 yards and 4 scores and interception in that game. But Parker, boy, what a great game, 11 of 17 passing. So tell us a little bit about his effort in that game.
You know, I was just super proud of Luke. And, you know, the first thing I'll tell you about Luke is he's a great kid. You know, he has just been working his tail off, you know, just waiting for his opportunity to come. And when he got it, he took full advantage of it. And so very productive in the passing game. Obviously, you throw 5 touchdowns, you're doing something really well. But I think one of the things I was most impressed with Luke was his in-game, how he handled the game, you know, how he managed the game. You know, there's a couple of times where maybe some throws weren't there, and he got out of the pocket and threw the ball away and just let us survive another down and not take a sack. And so he had numerous, you know, probably 4 or 5 plays like that were huge plays that nobody really noticed. That as coaches, you notice that, hey, you know, yeah, it wasn't there. Let's just cut our losses right here and let's play the next down. And some of those drives end up, you know, going for touchdowns, and then we get the first down a couple of plays later, and it wouldn't have been for that if he hadn't made good decisions with the ball in the early downs. So really proud of Luke, man. Excellent job. Played his tail off, and, you know, I'm glad he had some success.
Well, congratulations to Luke. He was the Honeymoon Bakery Icing on the Cake Player of the game from the Armuchee game. And, again, just what an excellent performance for sure.
Yeah, that next man up mentality, I know every coach I've ever known talks about that. You got to be ready for your moment. He certainly was, and we've seen him in some big moments already this season. But it seemed like he just got better as the game went on.
Yeah, it just seemed like he got a little more confident, a little more comfortable. I just thought he operated the offense really well. You know, I thought he did some great job stepping up and not giving up too early, and then delivering some balls downfield, keeping his eyes downfield, and using his arm and maybe not relying on his legs as much. And so, yeah, great ball game for Luke Parker.
Well, let's move on and talk about the Black Shirt Awards from last week. Of course, you always talk about offense, defense, special teams, scout team, that sort of thing. So who won the Black Shirt Awards this previous week?
All right, for Armuchee, the black shirts, the offense, you know, we went ahead and went with Luke Parker. I mean, that's just such a tough spot to step in. getting your first start in a region game where there's playoff implications on the line, and for him to step in and just play phenomenal, I thought it definitely had to go to Luke. And I think the team would have looked at me crazy if I wouldn't have gave it to Luke. So Luke gets the offensive black shirt. On defense, Talon Shirey. I know he had a great production on offense, but on defense, I think he had 4 tackles. He had a tackle for a loss. He had a pass breakup. He had an interception, and he had a forced fumble. I think the first or second series of the game, he put his shoulder right on the football, popped it loose, and were able to get a turnover right there. And so Talon gets the defensive black shirt for those efforts. On special teams, another night where Timmy Smith is just wreaking havoc, obviously on defense, but on special teams too. I think he had another game where he had 3 tackles on kickoff. And so Timmy doing a great job. And again, I can't say enough about that young man. He's a great kid, and he's really performing really well on the football field. Scout O, Bodie Powers. He played scout team tailback, and our defense was a little chippy after the Pepperell game, and so we wanted to make a point to come out and be physical. And so at practice for sure, so that we carry over to Friday. But Bodie he caught a couple of the lumps there on the defense, getting after him pretty good, and he just kept on sticking it back up in there, giving us a really good look. So Bodie deserved that scout team offensive black shirt. And on defense, this kid's playing a little more on Friday night. Each week he's played more and more. He's a freshman D lineman, number 66, Brody Amos. And so he's really gotten stronger. He loves the weight room, and he kills it in there. But, he's playing a lot of defense, but he comes over here on Scout D and he wreaks havoc, and he gives our offense a great look and prepare on the D-line. So Brody Amos gets the black shirt for the Scout D.
Fantastic. And I do want to shift gears a little bit as we move along through the remainder of this segment and talk about the Unified Championship football, because I saw Coach Groves was there and you had some of your players with you. And the Darlington team won 13-0 over Model Johnson in the Mites Championship. So the first thing I wanted to ask about that, Coach, is why is it so important that you're there and some of your guys are there to support these kids?
Well, one of the things that makes Darlington special is that sense of community and everybody pulling for everybody to be successful. And so, obviously that's a youth football team, and so that's the lifeblood of our program. That's the future of our program. And so, I want to have those kids know who I am, and I want to learn those kids and get to know those parents and start establishing those relationships. So, and then we got some good players. The last couple of years, Coach Philip Pilgrim has done an excellent job with that Mite football team. And so they've won the championship 2 years in a row now. And so those kids are going to come into middle school really soon. They're going to start lifting weights with me, and they're going to start training. And so, just being there, it's everything as a head football coach. I dove right into this community, and I'm going to be all in. And so I'm going to be there to support those kids as much as I can.
Well, I didn't broadcast the game, but I was up there with the crew that did, because we had them on the radio, that night, both games that night. And it was fun to see y'all out there and watch y'all's reaction to some of the plays in the game. And there was one hit that the Elam kid put on somebody. And, you could probably hear it across town, but you guys were really fired up about that.
Oh, yeah. Jack Elam is going to be one heck of a football player. His daddy was a really good football player in high school, and his uncles were really good football players. And so, yeah, They missed a block on him, and he made them pay for it for sure. It was about lights out. And I said, I don't know if anybody from Model wants to run the ball again after that. And I think that was about ball game when he put that hit on him.
Oh, absolutely. So, again, we just want to take the opportunity to congratulate the Darlington team on the Mites Championship, 13-0. It was an exciting night over there. And, again, one of the things that was really neat to see, Coach, about that was the fact that, you said had some hard-hitting things that were very aggressive, all the teams that I saw that day, but the skill level of the players, to me, was one of the things that really stood out about watching the Darlington team play and the other teams as well.
Yeah, they're coached well. They've been taught what to do, and they've got a good plan, and they do. They don't try to get too complicated and too fancy, and they go out and they block, they tackle, they leverage the football, and I was really impressed with that, and then how hard those kids played. So it just shows their sense of pride in Darlington.
No doubt about it. Well, we're going to wind down this segment in just a couple of moments, and we'll talk a little bit later on in the program about the matchup with Trion. But everything's right back in front of you guys as far as your goals for the season and things of that nature. So I just wanted to ask you, Coach, what has the tone been like at practice this week?
I mean, there's no question the kids know, and I remind them daily, multiple times, of what an opportunity we have right now, to be able to come in and play for a region championship and know that trophy is going to be there on Friday. And after that ball game's done, someone's going to hold it up, and so we need to understand that this is a great opportunity. We need to take advantage of our opportunities and don't let them slip by. So our tempo has been great at practice. Our effort has been great. Our focus and attention has been great. And so I'm ready for it to get up there and have a good football game up there with a good quality opponent.
Can't wait for it. We're going to talk about that in more detail, but we've got our Getting to Know Coach segment of the week, which is coming up. We're going to be talking some Halloween. We got actually a little bit of a slideshow that we're going to show you. Showed it to Coach just before we went on the air, so looking forward to sharing that with you all, our viewers out there on the WLAQ YouTube channel and Facebook Live, however you're viewing this. We appreciate you being with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll jump right back in to the Coach Grove Show. We'll return.
Shop for your next car, truck, or SUV at Riverside Auto Group. Check out riversideautogroup.com today to browse their selection or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet Buick GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, and the all-new Riverside Buick GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group. Visit riversideautogroup.com.
All right, we'll welcome you back in. This is the Coach Grove Show, and we're going to jump into our Getting to Know Coach segment of the week. And we've actually got more than one question this week, Coach. But the first thing that we're going to do, I promised a slideshow, so we're going to get to that in just a couple of moments. And this is actually kind of a follow-up into the question that we had in our previous show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night was Halloween. It felt like Halloween, nice, cool evening. So we wanted to see how your night went. But you earlier in the week, you sent us some photographic evidence of your love for Rambo.
Well, I told you, you asked me for my best costume growing up, and so Rambo. And so I think the next day my dad went through the family photo album, and so he found the Rambo picture from Halloween.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Since that came up and you sent us the photo, everybody's going to see it. And on top of that, they're also going to get a look at, of course, me as a punk rocker back in the day, sometime in the 1980s, probably around the same time, I'm guessing. So we've got Matt Punk Rock Davis, we've got Coach Rambo Groves, and then we've got Ian Strongman Griffin up on the screen. That's right. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Thought I'd share that with you guys there. But we saved the best for last for this one. I showed Coach Groves this little slide that we put together for the show. He sent us a picture earlier, so I'm going to put that on the screen right now, Coach, and tell us about how Halloween went at your house.
Okay, so I tried to get home as soon as I possibly could because, I knew she was going to be, chomping at the bit, ready to go, talking about my daughter, Grayson. And so, Halloween is kind of become a big deal at our house. We have a tradition. We bring everybody up, comes over the family, all the grandkids, cousins, my parents, Jess's parents, and my aunt and uncle and everybody. And so we had our hot dogs. We had our grilled hot dogs, and we had slaw and chili and all that good stuff. And then we went trick-or-treating, and Grayson was Lightning McQueen. And so she had a great time. I mean, it was just great memories.
And what was the end result of the trick-or-treating adventure that you went on? Did y'all get a lot of good stuff?
Oh, yeah. Well, I told her, I guess we trick-or-treated for about an hour or so. And I said, well, I guess we milked the neighborhood for all it's worth. It's time to go home. She said, okay, let's go home. She was ready. She was worn out.
That's fantastic, man. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and grateful to know that y'all had a good time and got to enjoy that time together. That's fantastic.
How many pounds of candy do you think she hauled in?
I don't know. We did a halftime, so we had to take it and dump out, and then go back out with a fresh, clean basket. So
it gets heavy for a little one to carry around.
It does.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, again, enjoyed seeing the costume and all that good stuff, and I'm glad to hear that she had a wonderful time, that y'all had a great time together. That's really neat. Well, let's see. We do have one comment here on our Facebook Live feed. It's from Kelly Fountain. He said, John J. Groves. That's right. I'd throw that out there for you. Getting a little feedback on the Facebook. Thanks for chiming in, Kelly. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and jump into our next question. And this one, Coach, and we've been mulling this one over for a little while, but do you have any maxims or quotes that you use to motivate and inspire your players, ones where if we had a few players here today and we say, well, what does Coach Groves say all the time, that they would come out and say, this is Coach Groves' sayings right here?
Well, they probably talk about the weight room. I'm always making sure we getting low on our squats. So I'm telling them to get parallel, and there's a lot of things that I say constantly. I got to have great effort, great execution, great focus, great concentration. I say that constantly and remind them that. In the locker room when you first walk in, I've got player expectations up there, and I have eight expectations, and so they read as follows. Number one, be on time. Number two, I want you to work a full day, whatever you do. You get up in the morning, let's start working, and let's work till you go to bed. That can constitute football, constitute weights, school, homework, whatever it is. Number three, give your best effort in all you do. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So we talk about that all the time. Number four, I want to be a man of good character, and so we talk about what is it to be a good man? What kind of decisions do good men make, and all that. And so we want them to act right and be a good man first. Number five, I want you to push your teammates to be great. Iron sharpens iron. We refer to that all the time, and that old saying. And so, soft doesn't make salt, doesn't make hard. So we got to get out there, and we got to bang it up and make our teammates better in the weight room, in the classroom, and in the community. We want to hold each other to a high standard. Number six, I want there to be a faith aspect that we talk about. And so, I always want to tell them to ask, faith for help when you need help, and be thankful for your blessings that you have. And so that's number six. Ask faith for help and be thankful for your blessings that you've been given. Number seven, I want you to bring positive attention to the program. Whatever you do, wherever you are, you're a Darlington football player, and that's in the classroom, and that's in the community, that's on the football field. So let's do good things, and let's make them say good things about Darlington football players. So bring positive attention to the program. And then number eight is finish strong. We want to have a fourth quarter mentality, and that could be in your calculus class, that could be in your physics class. When you have a final exam, we got to finish strong in that. That's also obviously in the fourth quarter in football. We want to make sure we're finishing strong and doing things the best we can to the best of our ability. So
I'm going to get him to send me that list, man. I'm going to hang it up in my office, because that's something that everybody could use right there. That's great advice. Do you have any favorite quotes or anything? I know I'm putting you on the spot there with that one. So.
I was going to say, you need to add, it's kind of the reverse of Rambo, because, he looks at the sheriff and says, you drew first blood. But when you go out and play football, you kind of want to draw first blood, right? So
that's right.
Flip that one around a bit. But, this speaks to me personally, but no good deed goes unpunished.
I hear you, man. One of my favorite quotes of all time, and this is related to sports, and a guy that's just absolutely full of wonderful quotes, was John Wooden, the late great basketball coach for UCLA. But I've used this one a lot. But be more, and you mentioned character, be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Mm-hmm. So anyway, always really like that one quite a bit.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That's going to put a wrap on this segment. When we come back, it's time to get down to business. We're going to talk about the Darlington Tigers heading up to McCain Stadium for an opportunity to play for a region championship. It's happening this Friday. Cannot wait for it. Can't wait to talk about it. That's coming up in the next segment. We're glad to have you with us.
Shop for your next car, truck, or SUV at Riverside Auto Group. Check out riversideautogroup.com today to browse their selection, or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet Buick GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, and the all-new Riverside Buick GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group. Visit riversideautogroup.com.
All right. We welcome everybody back into the Coach Grove Show here on the WLAQ YouTube channel and also Facebook live feed. Glad to have everyone with us, Tiger fans out there watching in and listening in and getting all the scoop on the Tigers and what they've been up to the last couple of weeks and getting ready to play for the region championship up at San McCain coming up this Friday. So it's going to be a great atmosphere for a football game. So let's go ahead and dive into the matchup, Coach. First of all, tell us, obviously we talked about it being a game, if you guys win, you'll win the region, so we kind of know what's at stake. But tell us a little bit about Trion. I know you've had the opportunity to see them on film and in person, so you've seen a lot of them in the last couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Yep. The way the schedule fell, we didn't get a lot of film on Trion, through film exchange from other region opponents, just because, we give the last 3 ball games and they kind of followed us in the schedule. So they got every ball game on us, region films. And so it was important to kind of get to see them in person. And so with us playing on Thursday, that was an advantage for us. We got to go see them play, Pepperell in person, and then last week we got to go get them, let them see, or got to see play Armuchee in person. So kind of got to size them up a little bit. Always film. You never kind of get to see, how they interact on the sideline, how their coaches operate, and so being able to see them twice, it's going to be an advantage for us. So they're a good football team. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for their head coach, Coach Patrick, and how they operate and how his staff does. They've got some good players, and they're coached really well, and they know exactly what they're doing. They're nothing super fancy, but they play hard and they play good, solid football. So it's going to be a tremendous matchup, and it's going to take a tremendous effort on our part to get it done.
Absolutely, Coach. And we had the opportunity, Ian, to go up there as well and watch them play Pepperell. Very impressed with the football team. Got a lot of playmakers. So what are some questions you have?
Obviously, last year this region came down to Trion and Darlington on the last Friday of the regular season, and the Tigers put a thumping on the Bulldogs last year. So I know everybody, we've talked about this week in, week out, the Tigers are always a target. You've always got a target on your back. Does it change at all when you're talking about a team that may have used Darlington as their motivation for the whole season?
Well, no more than any other opponent, but yeah, you definitely know that they've used that game for motivation. And I'll tell you, I watched that film, probably 20 times, the last year's film. And the Trion kids are a little bit older. They're a little bit stronger this year. But they came to Darlington last year, and Darlington got after Trion really well. I mean, I talk about Big Gus. I mean, I told the kids the other day, Big Gus just decided I'm going to whoop some tail, and he did, and Gatlin Hancock did, and then the other guys like Eli Thompson are making plays, and Jack Good are making plays, and so now this year's 2023 team, we're going up there, and we've got to do the same thing. We've got to make up our mind that we're just going to go get after them and hit them in the mouth all night long, and play good, solid, fundamental Tiger football. And even though Trion does have good players and they're solid, they're not unbeatable. Nobody is. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like we do. And so if we go up there and play good, solid football, we feel like we got a good plan. We can have the result that we want.
Well, what are some of the things with their offense? Cade Smith, he can beat you with his arm, he can beat you with his legs. Toby Maddox is a back that just doesn't seem to go down on first contact, and then they've got that big tight end, Logan Stokes, as well. I'm sure all those guys are on your radar.
Oh yeah, of course. We got them at about 70% run, 30% pass. They're not a huge passing team, and most of their passes come off, run, play action type stuff, and they try to hit you with some RPO slants or hitches or vertical routes. So you're going to see, old school 21 personnel, a tight end and 2 backs, but they do it out of shotgun. You're going to get powers and counters. You're going to see them in some 10 personnel, 2x2 and 3x1. They're going to run inside zone. They do a great job with screens, quarterback runs, and counters to get Cade involved. And then you'll see some funky empty formations that, they try to get you, moved out of the box and try to get you to overload a side so they can, take advantage of Cade running the ball or throw screens to open receivers. And so it's stuff you all got to prepare for, but we feel like we got a good plan and we'll be ready.
I think another player that we saw make some big plays in that game for Trion was the Willingham kid. Was that his name? Wide receiver?
Number 3. Yeah. Ethan Willingham is a really good receiver, and he, they talk about 50-50 balls. They've thrown to him against Pepperell and Armuchee. That was about 90% balls. He goes up there. He's made some really good catches throughout the year. So you definitely got to know where he is. Cade Smith can throw it and run it. Toby Obviously, is a hard-nosed running back. Obviously, there's been an emphasis for us on tackling and gang tackling and wrapping up and running our feet because, you see on film that he doesn't go down if you try to arm tackle him or you try to tackle him one-on-one. He's a tough out. So we gotta do the fundamental things that we preach all the time, and we'll be all right.
What did you see from these guys on the line of scrimmage?
All right, so they got two good a left tackle, Ezra Adams. He's number 56, 6'3", 285. He's a big physical kid. And then the right guard, number 76, Brock Payton, 5'11", 255 junior. Those two really stand out right there on the offensive line, and they do a good job.
And as far as the defense is concerned from Trion, what do you expect from them after what you've seen in the few weeks you've seen them play?
All right, they're similar to us on defense. They're probably a little more simple than we are, but they're a four-man front over defense. They're going to play basically a 4-2 box on you, and you're going to get cover 4. You're going to get some cover 0. You get some man coverage as well. But they're just solid and fundamental in how they align and play. And so, we got to be dead on our blocking assignments and our responsibilities, and if we're going to move the ball.
Now, Coach, I asked you this question when you were headed to Lindale about the environment. Trion's a little bit different monster. Matt and I got to see it firsthand. I mean, their fans didn't just go after the Pepperell players; they were going after the Trion coaching staff if they didn't like the play call. And it's it's right on top of the actions, very close to the field. How do you? I know that there's talk on the field between the players, but how do you condition your kids to tune all that noise out?
Well, the most important thing is the play, and so you can get caught up in all that talking and listening to the fans, but that's not going to help us one bit. The best way to shut the fans up, if you will, is to make plays on the field and focus and do your job. And so that's what we got to do. We got to get that crowd quiet. We got to go up there and we got to make some plays and get them arguing amongst each other, and that'll be just fine with me.
Well, Coach, we're really looking forward to the game. We're going to start winding the show down here in just a couple of moments. And you kind of touched on this already, and we've asked you this a time or two throughout the season. But, if you were to put together a short list of what the Tigers have to do in order to come away with a win up at Trion and hoist that trophy that you talked about, and win the region championship, what has to happen coming up on Friday night?
Well, one, our kids have got to play the hardest and the best they've ever played, and they should, because right now I told them today, I said, you're as strong as you've ever had. You've all played more downs of football than you've ever played. You've all been coached more than you've ever been coached. You know exactly what our plan is on offense, defense, and special teams. You just got to go out there and play for each other, play for Darlington community, and just lay it all on the line. And that means we got guys laid out. At the end of the ball game, we got to carry you off the field because you've given it your all for Darlington. That's a good thing, and that's the kind of effort we're going to have. And so it ain't going to be done. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be the team that wants it more. It's going to be the team that gets out there and executes and plays their brand of football the best. And so hopefully it's going to be the Darlington Tigers.
Matt and I were talking about this, and is this as healthy as you've been all season heading into this game? Are you going to be as close to full strength as you've been?
Well, we're going to go through a regular season and not be full strength, and that means I'm saying we've never had all our starters and best players on the field at the same time, but we are as healthy as we've been. And so, I'm really not a big fan of off weeks, but we got an off week at the right time to kind of get some guys back. And so we've got some guys back, still not 100%, but we're as full strength as we can be.
And with the opportunity to play for a championship, the loss at Pepperell as a tough week. Talk about the resolve of your team, your coaching staff. Your goals were still in front of you. You had to take care of Armuchee, and now you've got a chance to go play for a championship.
Yeah, that's what it is. We talked about going back to work, and looking in the mirror and taking accountability for the things we did wrong in that Pepperell game and the things we could do better. And we went out and corrected those things. So we can't revert back. We gotta. When the bullets start flying, we got to go back to what were you taught in Indy, what was the game plan, and do that to the best of our ability and do it fast, physical, and let's do it together.
Well, Coach, we're really looking forward to the game, and we appreciate you being here each and every Wednesday throughout the season. And the Coach Grove Show, this has been really a lot of fun. It's hard to believe that this is the last edition of the regular season before we get ready for that third part of the season, the playoffs. So thanks again, man, for all you do. We appreciate you, man.
Jim, thank you, guys.
All right.
Great.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
All right, we're going to put a wrap on this edition of the Coach Grove Show here on the WLAQ YouTube channel and Facebook Live feed. And again, region championship coming up. at Sam R. McCain Friday evening. Make sure to wear your purple. Be there. Be loud. It's going to be a great atmosphere. We're excited about it, and it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun. That's going to put a wrap on this episode of the Coach Grove Show here on the WLAQ YouTube channel. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Coach Groves Show. We invite you to join us again next week as we discuss all things Darlington football with head coach Wayne Groves. Go Tigers!